Very good morning to all my students. Please watch the video carefully till the end and do as directed. Any queries? Feel free to call me or message me. Once again, welcome to the recorded classes. This is Ma'am Anna, your English teacher. Are we ready for today's session, children? Let's get started. Challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. Children, don't think this is a quote. This was an advice given to me by one of my senior at work. When I was really upset, I thought I should quit and find another job. Then one of my senior advised, don't do that. You can overcome this. Try. You are capable. So these words inspired me. In everyone's life, there are lots of ups and downs. But when you have the right people to advise you, everyone may advise you. Some may just advise you for the sake of advising. Some may inspire you. Some will really bring meaning to your life. The same way, these words inspired me. And I told my senior, thank you for advising. I will definitely work towards it. And I worked towards all my weaknesses. And believe me, it worked wonders for me. I was able to overcome all the small challenges that I could face. So in life, children, it is not the end. You make mistakes, never mind. When someone is advising you or someone is questioning you, don't feel offended. Take it in the positive way and see how life changes. Work towards it and you will definitely get the result for your hard work. So let's see what is this advice going to help us in today's lesson. Before we start today's session, let me brief you about today's content. We will start off with a new chapter, which is the best advice I ever had. We will look into some vocabulary, a small chapter in grammar, which is prefix and suffix. We will summarize all what we learned, and then comes your assignment, what has to be done for your classwork and homework. Are you all ready, children? Let's get started then. Can anyone identify these great Indian women who made India proud? Any guesses? Don't worry, children. I have the answer for you all in the next slide. Here's the answer, children. The first one, Srimati Indira Gandhi. The second one, Srimati Pratibha Patil. Third one, Kalpana Chawla. Fourth one, Kiran Bedi. The fifth one, Mother Teresa. And the sixth one is Indira Nooyi. Today's lesson, The Best Advice I Ever Had, was written by Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit. Let's see who Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit is. Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit was born as Swarup Kumari Nehru on 18th August 1900 to the Nehru family. Her father, Motilal Nehru, was a famous lawyer, political leader and a freedom fighter. Vijayalakshmi Pandit did not receive any formal school education but was tutored privately. Not only that, she actively participated in the freedom struggle and was imprisoned thrice. She was elected to the Constituent Assembly from United Province under a Congress party. Then she also was an ambassador to Moscow, Mexico, Washington, England, and Ireland. Even after her retirement from active politics, Pandit sustained a deep interest in Indian political development. And on December 1st, 1990, she died at Dehradun. This is about Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit, children. So let's start off with today's lesson then. The best advice I ever had. The best advice I ever had came from one of the greatest souls the world has ever known, Mahatma Gandhi, on a sunny afternoon a decade ago. Most people pass through a period of anguish when their belief in humanity is at low ebb. Decade means 10 years ago, children. And anguish, what is anguish? Anguish means severe mental or physical pain or suffering. And low ebb is bad state. I was in such a period when my husband had died recently. My deep sorrow over his loss was followed by the humiliating realization that in the eyes of an Indian law, I had no individual existence. Along with the other Indian women, I had participated for years with men in the national struggle for freedom, walking in suffering side by side with them until it had finally been achieved. Yet, in law, we women were still recognized only through our relationship to men. Children, this is an article written by Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit. In this article, Vijayalakshmi Pandit refers to some of the hard and humiliating situations she went through in her life when she lost her husband. When she was mourning her husband's death, that is, she was still in that, what to say, uh, in that state of mind, okay, and she was not able to come out of it. She felt further humiliation by knowing that the Indian law was not helpful to her. Because in those days, women had no respect if the husband dies. And the law was such. Even though she worked with many people for the freedom struggle, but still she was not considered as the same when her husband was there. Let's go through the rest of the lesson. Now, as a widow without a son, I was not entitled to any share of the family property, nor were my two daughters. I resented this galling position. I was bitter towards those members of my family who supported this antiquated law. At this time, I went to pay my respect to Gandhiji and say goodbye before leaving for America to take part in a conference. That's bad, isn't it? Now, because she never had a son and she was a widow, she was not given the share of the husband's property as well. And here, gailing position, which means that here the gailing position is referred to the death of her husband. Antiquated law means old and outdated. Synonyms of antiquated is outdated. Okay, and so because of that old laws, what was written, she was very upset and she was about to leave to America to take part in a conference. She said, okay, let me meet Gandhi once and say goodbye to him. Let's see what Gandhiji tells her. After our talk, he asked, have you made peace with your relatives? I was amazed that he would take side against me. I had not quarreled with anyone, I replied, but I refuse to have anything to do with those who take advantage of an outworn law to create a difficult and humiliating situation. So what happened when she went to meet Gandhiji? When she went to meet Gandhiji, he made her realize what her situation is. So when she went to meet him, he asked, "Have you made peace with your relatives? Are you all okay with your relatives? Are you in good terms with the relatives?" Immediately, she felt that, what is Gandhiji talking? He's not taking her side. So she said, "I didn't fight with anyone." And she said that she refused to have any relation with those who humiliated her. Let's see what happens next. Gandhiji looked out of the window for a moment. Then he turned to me and smiled and said, "You will go and say goodbye because courtesy and decency demand this. In India, we still attach importance to these things." So after this, Gandhiji just looked out for a moment at the window and he very strongly told her, "You will go and say goodbye to them." Why? Because it is courtesy. Courtesy means polite behavior. Your polite behavior and decency, moral respect, is still followed in India. So go and do as I say. "No," I declared, "not even to please you will I go to those people who wish to harm me." So she was very adamant. She said, "I will not go, even for your sake, I will not." So what Gandhiji says, "No one can harm you except yourself," he said, still smiling. "I see enough bitterness in your heart to cause you injury unless you check it." So what Gandhiji said? He just gave a piece of advice. What it means. He pointed out to the importance of making peace with others. Forgiving others is the only way to keep us in peace. Let's see if his advice changed her or not in the next class, children. So I have read the lesson for you all and I have also explained it. Hope you all liked it. Let's look at some glossaries now. Anguish. Anguish means to distress with extreme pain or grief. And the synonyms, similar words of anguish is pain, agony, distress, hurt, torment. And the opposite of anguish is comfort, happiness, joy, solace, and contentment. And if you're using it in a sentence, it is, life is anguish at times. Let's look at some more words. Decade means 10 years ago. Low ebb means bad state. Antiquated law means old-fashioned, and the synonym of antiquated is outdated. Courtesy means polite behavior. Decency means morality or respectability. Clear, children? Let's move on to grammar. A very small chapter we learn in today's grammar session, which is base word or root word, prefix and suffix. Now, before we get into what prefix and suffix is, let's see what root word is. Another name for root word is the base word. What is a base word? A word that can stand on its own and has a meaning. Any word that can stand on its own and has a meaning is a base word. Let's look at the word happy. Happy means what? Joyful, glad, delighted, rejoicing, etc. Correct. The word happy is standing on its own and it's got a meaning. Now let's see what happens when we add a prefix. Now what is a prefix? A group of letters added to the beginning of a base word to change the meaning. Once again, prefix, a group of letters added in the beginning. Pre means beginning. Now to this word happy, if you add the letters U and N, if you add un plus happy, the meaning completely changes. It becomes unhappy. Clear, children? Now let's see what suffix is. Like how We add letters before a word the same way we add letters after the word. Okay, a group of letters added to the end of a base word to change the meaning. Now let's take the root word as fear. Fear means what? Scared. Okay, now to this word fear, if we add another few words after fear, let's see what happens. Fear plus less is equal to fearless. Okay, earlier it was fear, you were scared. Fearless means you're not scared. Correct? The meaning change. Very clear and simple, children. Now this is homework number 2, children, for you all. This is an activity. You will have to do this in your homework book. Once again, I'm repeating. You will have to do this in your homework book. You will have to write the heading as prefix and suffix. You will write the heading as prefix and suffix. All right. Now, look at these root words, which is write, act, play, tie, agree, read, joy, and view. Now, to these root words, you will add a prefix and a suffix. The first one is done there. Re plus write will become rewrite. Write plus er will become writer. So you will have to add a prefix and a suffix and do it in your homework book. Clear, children? Now let's quickly summarize all what we learned today. We started off with a new chapter, which is the best advice I ever had, isn't it? We started off with that. And then I did tell you about a little about Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Pandit. I read the lesson for you all. I explained the lesson for you all. We looked into some word meanings. We also learned what is prefix and suffix. Very clear, children? Yes, this is what we learned today. We have come to the end of today's session. Before I wind up, let me tell you what has to be done for your classwork and homework. Children, for your classwork, I have sent meanings and question and answers. Listen carefully. You will write the heading, the best advice I ever had. You will put today's date, which is the 19th of July 2021. All right. Then you will write word meaning as the first main. Copy the word meanings one below the other and leave 6 lines. Once again, I'm repeating. Copy the word meanings one below the other and leave 6 lines and draw a line. After which you will write Roman number 2. Answer the following. I've given about 5 question answers. Write those question answers and leave one page, that is front and back, one whole page. Okay, and then continue with the third main. You will write the way I have written. You will write answer the following extracts from the lesson and you will copy those 2 question answers. So totally 7 question answers I have given. Don't forget to leave a page, that is front and back, one whole page. Clear? That is for your classwork. For your homework, I have already asked you to write prefix and suffix grammar. All right, in your homework book. You will also write the word meanings that is there in this PPT and the grammar definitions in your homework book. Once again, I'm repeating, you will write prefix and suffix, whatever activity I have given, plus the word meanings and the grammar definition only once in your homework book. And a small advice to all of you all. If anyone wants to call me, you can call me after 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 8 in the evening, children. Not only to me, any teacher for that matter. All right, till 8 in the evening. Even the messages, what you all send, please see that you all send it before 8. All right. If something important, yes, I do understand. You can call me after 8, but not late night. All right. And also see that you send your classwork and homework to my personal WhatsApp number because I will be checking who is sending and who is not sending. Very clear instructions, children. Please do as directed. All right. And I will see you all on Friday in Zoom. Until then, it's Ma'am Anna Rajshekar signing off. Take care, stay safe, and bye bye.